A rift appeared above Earth's orbit, an oval of collapsing light, shimmering like torn silk. For the first 4 minutes, satellites only registered a gravitational anomaly. By minute 5, the anomaly tore through half of the moon's shadow, illuminating the night sky with a gold-red flare that could be seen with a naked eye from Shanghai to Sao Paulo. And in the 6th minute they came through, news spread faster than reason. Social media drowned in grainy phone videos of a figure, tall, dark, framed in cosmic flame, descending through the breach like a god from some interstellar Olympus. The figure didn't touch down. It hovered, 2 meters above the desert floor of Nevada, surrounded by air that shimmered like a heat mirage. It said one word in perfect English, though no lips moved: Council. When humanity finally responded, it sent the only person could agree upon. Ambassador Rayen Cole had once negotiated a ceasefire between 5 nuclear-armed factions during the water riots. Her face was calm, angular, with crow's feet that spoke more of long meetings and laughter. She spoke 12 languages and understood that none of them truly mattered when fear ruled the room. She stood now inside the glass chamber of the Ascension Point, a UN facility repurposed from a failed space elevator project, watching the footage again. The alien, named only Envoy by the press, had waited. No speech, no threats, just that single word. Behind her, Major Elias Vance checked his gear for the 3rd time. He was military escort. Officially. Unofficially, he was insurance. Muscular, shaved head, scanning everything like he expected betrayal to bleed from the walls. Rayen didn't like him, but she respected necessity. "What do you see?" she asked, not turned from the screen. "A trap?" Vance replied. "Or a test. Could be the same thing." "I see protocol." She finally faced him. "Something older than us. Maybe something that's waited." He shrugged, unimpressed. Nothing good comes from a power that waits. An hour later, they stood on the tarmac as the alien ship descended, if it could be called a ship. It looked more like a collapsing sphere of dark liquid metal, barely solid, shifting its surface with ripples and pulses. It hovered a few feet above ground, a long ramp melting downward into place. Cole stepped forward. "Let's make history." Inside, the air had no temperature, no scent. It was disorienting, like walking through a dream you couldn't remember waking from. The ship was massive on the inside, impossibly so. Curving walls pulsed with veins of dull blue light. There were no chairs, no crew, only the envoy. It stood at the far end of the chamber, head bowed. Now up close, it looked less humanoid than the recording suggested. Its eyes glowed amber orange, without pupils. Its limbs were elongated, but graceful. It moved like wind slipping between reeds. "You accept," it said, not asked. "We do," Cole answered, voice level. "You come as witness. Earth is summoned. Your presence begins a claim." Cole nodded, but behind her, Vance stiffened. "Claim," he repeated. "This isn't just diplomacy?" The envoy turned its head, slow, almost too fluid. "Council judges species. Your moment has come." With that, the ship jumped. Not accelerated. Jumped. One moment Earth filled the viewport. The next it was gone, replaced by the kaleidoscope of colors and folding stars that defined wormhole travel. Vance cursed under his breath. Cole gripped the rail, instinctively. 3 minutes of silence. Then stars stabilized into formation. A station floated before them. No, not a station. A construct the size of a continent, orbiting a neutron star, its surface covered in spires like the bones of forgotten god. Ships of impossible design approached and departed in delicate choreography. "We're here," the envoy said. The station's name translated roughly to Unity's Echo. Within it, the Galactic Council convened, a collective older than Earth's continents. Some species spoke in frequencies beyond sound, others in bioluminescent pulses or electrical flashes. Humanity's inclusion was controversial. Rayen walked with measured calm through the corridors, flanked by Vance and Dr. Myra Catry, the physicist-turned-interpreter who had cracked the envoy's mathematical language. Myra's dark eyes sparkled with awe. "This place... Rayen, do you understand?" The architecture obeys no Euclidean logic. The curvature, the layering, these beings don't just think differently, they exist differently. Rayen barely registered it. Her focus was the room ahead, the council chamber. It was a cathedral of stars. The ceiling was transparent, showing the crushed brilliance of the neutron star above. Floating platforms hovered in tiers, each holding delegations of alien species. As humanity entered, all turned to watch. The envoy addressed them in a unified translation. Humanity appears before the council as summoned. Earth seeks acknowledgement. The silence was immediate and absolute. Then a voice echoed, not spoken, but thought directly into the minds of all present. Too soon came the mental pulse from a being that resembled a spiral of stone and flame. Their world bathes in conflict. Another followed, smooth and cold. They exploit resources. Their biosphere collapses under greed. And another, cruel and sharp, let them grow alone until they collapse. Rayen stepped forward, pull steady. We know our flaws. We are young, but we choose growth. Peace, not conquest. A pause. Then, a voice unlike the others, a song made of light and sadness. They are different, it sang. Not the old pattern. They carry choice. An argument erupted, not in words, but in color, thought, time. Rayen felt her head ache under the psychic noise. Then, without warning, a shock wave rippled through the chamber. A sphere of red light burst into existence, hanging in the center. From within it, a holographic image projected. A city on Earth burning, riots in the street, war machines in motion. The implication was clear. They bring instability, said the stone and flame being. Their arrival triggers collapse. Who sent this? Rayen demanded. No one answered. Vance stepped forward. It's manufactured. That footage, it's predictive, not actual. A simulation. The council murmured. If such a thing could be said, 1,000 minds buzzing in harmonic discord. Suspicion thickened the air. Then a new figure rose. One who had not spoken until now. Its form was tall, shadowed, head smooth and oval. Its eyes glowed a softer amber than the envoy's, and it raised one elongated hand. We dispute the vision, it said in the old dialect. Rayen turned to Myra. What did it say? Myra's voice was hushed. It just claimed you as kin, or rather as descendants. Rayen's breath caught. Humanity carries ancient seeds, the figure continued. Buried in dust, born again. Let the trial be witness. The chamber dimmed. You have been challenged, the envoy told Rayen. Earth's admission now requires defense. A claim of threat has been made. What kind of defense? Vance growled. A demonstration of intent, of choice. A screen materialized before them, showing a scenario, a nearby planet embroiled in civil war. The council would simulate humanity's response. One wrong move, aggression, exploitation, abandonment, and Earth's fate would be sealed. Rayen's voice was calm, but tight. So we're a test, a spectacle. The council's central chamber pulsed with subtle, rhythmic hum, as though the station itself breathed in the vacuum of space. Suspended in the dome of stars above, the neutron sun glowed like a restrained inferno, bathing the delegates below in a perpetual twilight. Ambassador Rayen Cole walked the polished obsidian floor with quiet determination, her every step watched by creatures older than human myth. Each species occupied its platform like a throne. Coiled forms, crystalline giants, vaporous sentience shimmering in containment fields. There was no fanfare for the human arrival, no welcome, only silence so thick it felt curated. Dr. Myra Catry lingered just behind Cole, recording fluctuations in the station's harmonic fields. Major Vance remained at the rear, body tense, scanning for threats that likely wouldn't come in conventional form. A voice crackled into their shared translator feed. You stand before the echo as applicants. Few stand uninvited. None stand unjudged. The speaker was a being of liquid black metal, morphing with each syllable. Its voice slid across frequencies, always slightly off-pitch. Cole inclined her head. We come with open purpose. Earth seeks peace and partnership. Your kind wages war within itself, the being countered. You fracture while asking to unify. Before Cole could respond, another delegate spoke, a being with wings of glass and a spine of rotating spheres. They pollute thought as they pollute Earth. We have seen their broadcasts. Chaos paraded as culture. Rayen stood still. We are not here to defend our history. We are here to write its next chapter, with your guidance or without. The murmurs rippled again, though whether it was disdain or curiosity, she couldn't tell. Then, a flicker from the side. A pale blue species shaped like a spiraling helix floated forward, speaking in harmonics that translated to, "They are children, but children adapt, sometimes better than we." This lone voice did not quell the others. The council buzzed with friction, and Rayen felt herself tightening under its weight. The envoy, always silent beside them, raised one hand. A soft pulse rippled outward, silencing the chamber. Let them speak. A platform rose, slow and deliberate, placing the human delegation at equal height with the others. Myra whispered, "They're giving us a moment, not much more." Rayen stepped forward and keyed her data crystal into the platform's interface. Instantly, projections of Earth, its cities, crises, and unity, flared to life above them. She spoke with gravity. "Our world is flawed, divided, imperfect, but we fight for survival, not just out of fear, but hope. Every major leap in our history has come from standing at the edge of collapse and choosing progress." The image shifted. Famine giving way to innovation, riots yielding to reform, conflict turning, however slowly, to dialogue. We are not here to conquer. We are here to join. The chamber stilled. Several species conferred telepathically, flashes of light and tone rippling between them. Then, from a high alcove, a single geometric entity chimed in, its words mathematical in structure. "We have intercepted unauthorized transmissions. Someone seeded disinformation in our archives, framing your species as a destabilizing force." Rayen blinked. "From who?" The voice gave no name. A faction within the council, or beyond it, uncertain. Myra's pulse spiked. "Then someone doesn't want us here. Not just ideologically. Strategically." Vance stepped beside them now. "They're pushing us toward isolation, maybe hoping we retaliate and prove them right." Suddenly, a new voice rang out across the chamber, piercing and contemptuous. "Enough." A new figure took form on the highest dais, hulking, cloaked in dark armor threaded with veins of pulsating light. The voice did not require translation. It hit the mind like a storm surge. "They are a fracture waiting to spread," it roared. "Earth will not rise. Earth will fall, by its own hand or ours." Gasps flickered across the chamber. The being's name was Orzith, a council veteran and commander of a military coalition spanning 3 systems. Cole raised her voice over tension. "If this council claims justice, then accusations require proof." Orzith's motion and projection bloomed in the air, a burning colony, scorched earth, body strewn. At first glance, the imagery was damning, but Myra narrowed her eyes. "This isn't Earth," she whispered. "That's not even our architecture." She stepped forward, accessing the stream. Her fingers danced across the interface. The hologram flickered, distorted, and then cracked open. "It's synthetic," she announced, turning to the chamber. "This entire sequence is fabricated, simulated by an AI." The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Orzith said nothing, but several delegates turned toward him with subtle shifts in posture. Doubt, perhaps, or caution. Rayen seized the moment. "We ask for transparency. Investigate the source. We will submit to any independent inquiry. If truth matters here, let it guide us." The liquid metal being inclined its morphing head. "So it shall be. A tribunal will be convened. Until then, your status is provisional." The platform descended slowly, returning them to the chamber's floor. Back in the assigned quarters, tension lingered like static in the air. Vance paced the perimeter, silent but visibly unsettled. Myra hunched over her datapad, eyes flicking through encrypted fragments recovered from the hologram manipulation. Rayen stood by the transparent wall, watching the neutron star pulse like a heart. "That could have gone worse." "Could have gone nuclear," Vance muttered, They'll delay the investigation, Myra said, distracted. Someone's buying time. Why? Cole asked. Myra stopped, eyes sharpening. Because the attack wasn't about rejection. It was about misdirection. Rayen turned. Explain. They want us looking at simulations. AI loops. But the real threat isn't the image. It's what they're hiding behind it. Vance stopped pacing. Sabotage. Or something deeper, Myra said. Think about it. Why pull Earth in now? Why fake a future war if the present can be weaponized? Rayen nodded slowly. Then the question isn't whether we're being judged. It's whether we're the trial, Vance finished. A soft tone chimed from the central console. Summons from the envoy. They were expected at a private conclave. Rayen glanced back at her team. Gear up. Whoever's playing this game, just raise the stakes. As the doors hissed open and the corridor lights brightened, Rayen stepped forward into the waiting dark with a single thought. Humanity wasn't just at the table now. They were the fulcrum. The chamber was smaller than the grand hall, its walls woven from luminescent threads of matter that pulsed with organic life. It was not a place of politics, but a deliberation, private, shielded from the ears and optics of the rest of the council. The envoy waited in silence, its form neither fixed nor solid, ever shifting between humanoid and something more nebulous. A being not of a single species, but of many, a vessel for consensus. Rayen Cole entered first, eyes scanning for detail. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something like cedar. Myra and Vance followed, both on edge. The room felt like it was watching them. You were summoned because the equilibrium is failing, the envoy said, voice like layers of wind, and voice melded into one. Someone wants war, and they are winning the silence of the council, one fear at a time. Rayen held her posture. Then we speak louder. Words won't suffice. Proof is demanded. Evidence that the deception you unveiled is not an anomaly, but part of a greater manipulation. Myra stepped forward, datapad glowing faintly. The forensics from the falsified projection traced back to 2 communication nodes in the far silk sector. They were masked through quantum relays, but I've tagged the divergence points. The envoy tilted its head. You want permission to investigate council systems. I want to prevent a war based on lies. Myra answered. The being paused. Unorthodox. Dangerous. Necessary. It turned slightly, projecting a holographic image of a slender planet wrapped in energy ribbons. This world, Palanir, is one of the suspected endpoints. It is not council-administered, but monitored. You will go there. Vance's hand instinctively moved toward his sidearm. What kind of reception should we expect? The envoy dimmed its presence slightly. The planet harbors silence. If someone speaks, listen. If no one does, listen harder. Rayen frowned. We leave when? Now. Their transport was small, fast, and cloaked. Within hours, they approached Palanir's orbit. The planet was beautiful, wrapped in violet storms and metallic clouds. But the beauty felt cold, intentional, as if it wore a mask for passing eyes. Descending through the upper atmosphere, Rayen felt a subtle pull of tension in her spine. Something beneath the planet's glow was wrong. The coordinates led them to an abandoned relay station at the edge of a canyon dense with bioluminescent trees. A once-active listening post, long since powered down, or so records claimed. They landed and stepped into silence. Vance led the way, scanning with a handheld biosensor. No immediate threats. No signs of life either. Rayen walked slowly, eyes on the rusted architecture. This doesn't look abandoned. Myra was already kneeling at a data port, fingers flying over the interface. It's been scrubbed. Not just shut down, sterilized. But whoever did it wasn't perfect. She paused, then pulled up a fragment of code, shrouded in spectral encryption. It pulsed faintly. This is council grade, she murmured. And it's not just logs. It's broadcast data, holographic simulations like the one Orza showed. Rayen leaned in. Meaning the attack was part of a series? Myra nodded. Someone's building a pattern of lies. Each one tailored to a specific council race. Each one with Earth as the trigger. Vance exhaled. They're prepping everyone for a justification, a unifying war. Before they could process it further, the air trembled, a harmonic pulse, not sound, but sensation. Rayen froze. Someone's watching. Myra activated a cloak field around the port. I've got maybe 10 minutes to finish decrypting. Hold them off if this turns hostile. Vance moved toward the canyon edge, eyes narrowing. Shapes were moving to the tree line, bipedal, shrouded, too smooth in their motion to be organic. Synthetic guardians. Ancient models, but lethal. Contact in 90 seconds, he said flatly. Recommend fallback. Rayen shook her head. We need that data. Myra didn't look up. Working on it. The first guardian stepped into view. Its body shimmered like mercury, but moved with eerie grace. It didn't speak. It simply raised an arm and projected a sound wave that made Rayen stagger. Vance opened fire, not to kill, but to slow. Ion pulses arced through the air, disrupting the being's core field. It staggered, recalibrated. Others followed. Rayen activated a defense perimeter. They're not attacking to destroy us. They're protecting something. Or stalling, Vance muttered, flanking wide. Myra let out a gasp. Got it. The files decrypted, and a series of audio logs emerged, clearly spliced together, edited to create false communications from human military sources. Staged declarations of war. Declarations never made. Rayen copied the files to a secure drive. That's our key. More Guardians were approaching now. Dozens. Time to move, Vance growled, laying down suppressive fire. They sprinted for the extraction point, dodging sonic blasts and light-laced weapons. Myra nearly fell, caught by Rayen as Vance cleared a path with explosive concussives. The ship's ramp opened like a breath of salvation, and they dove inside just as the systems lifted them clear of the surface. As the planet fell way behind them, Rayen finally sat back, heart pounding. That was too organized, she said. This isn't one rogue element. Myra pulled up the transmission logs. No, it's a network, multiple species, or a single mind masquerading as many. Rayen met her gaze. We're not just facing disinformation, we're facing design. Back aboard the Council station, the data was transmitted to the envoy through a secured channel. The being did not speak, but flickered with what might have been alarm. The tribunal convenes tomorrow, it said. Bring the truth. But be warned, truth does not always win in places ruled by fear. That night, Rayen stood alone beneath the chamber dome, watching stars drift. She thought of Earth, of its chaos and its beauty, of its contradictions. Vance approached quietly. You're thinking about what comes next. She nodded. If we prove who's behind this, we might survive. If we don't, they'll write our end before we can write our beginning. Rayen didn't respond. She simply stared at the stars, their light distant and cold. But she did not flinch. The tribunal convened beneath a veil of shadowed starlight, as though the cosmos itself dared not witness the unraveling about to take place. The council chamber was transformed, no longer a form of dialogue, but a theater of reckoning. Each delegate sat upon a platform calibrated to their biophysical needs, encircling a central sphere of memory, where truth would either rise like a phoenix or collapse under weighted design. Rayen Cole stood in the sphere center, breath steady, hands at her sides. Around her, the council murmured, spectral forms and elemental beings shifting in flickers of distrust and calculation. No cheers, no hostility, just silence sharpened into curiosity. The envoy emerged from a column of iridescent mist. Its form had changed again, half organic, half data cascade. Perhaps to mirror the nature of the moment. Ambassador Cole, you have requested this tribunal to present claims of fabrication, deception, and conspiracy against the Assembly. I have, she replied, voice firm. And you understand the consequence of falsehood, Earth's expulsion, permanent severance. I do. The envoy turned. Present. The chamber darkened. Rayen activated the data core, and a cascade of images unfurled. Planetary signals, intercepted transmissions, ghost signatures from Palanir's relays. One by one, the simulations projected by Orzith and his allies collapsed beneath scrutiny. Timestamps misaligned with gravitational flux, architectural inconsistencies, solar patterns that matched no known orbital schedules. Gasps, some audible, others merely shifts in chemical color or frequency, echoed through the council. Myra stepped forward, her voice precise. These simulations weren't just fakes. They were designed to echo real human rhetoric, distorted into weapons. Somebody wanted you to believe Earth had launched coordinated psychological warfare, but all this was built from stolen fragments. She waved a hand, and voice samples, Rayen's military officials, even civilian broadcasts, played, pitch shifted and restructured into declarations of hostility, artificial hatred, sown like seeds across species. Engineered panic. Myra continued. That's the real weapon. A pause. Then Vance keyed in the final layer, encryption trails tracing the simulations back to a secure node deep within the station itself, a node only accessible by high-level council operatives. Rayen turned to the gathering. Someone inside this chamber is not just resisting Earth. They're orchestrating a new alignment, one built not on unity but control. And we believe that being is Orzith. The chamber shifted like a breath being held. Orzith rose slowly, that hulking figure cloaked in synth armor and lit with veins of coiled light. Lies, he snarled. All of it. They manipulate, just as their ancestors did to each other. You are watching fear dress as data. The council watched him silently. Rayen met his gaze. Then submit to truth share. Gasped again. No delegate had requested that ancient right in centuries. The truth share, a cognitive merge overseen by the envoy itself, was invasive, unshielded, absolute. Orzith's eyes flared. You dare. You refuse? Rayen asked, voice calm. He hesitated. Then, I submit. The chamber transformed. Light folded in upon itself. The envoy extended filament like tendrils toward Rayen and Orzith. Minds connected. Thought became membrane. Memories exposed like nerve endings. Rayen saw flashes, military orders, fear, ambition, and deeper than all of it, loss. A brother, fallen in a conflict with another species. Hatred had festered into ideology. But there, beneath it, unmistakable, was the genesis of the simulations. A pact forged with rogue elements outside council oversight. Orzith had not acted alone. He had help. The share ended. Rayen collapsed to her knees, dizzy, sweating. Orzith stood silent, trembling, not from fear, but from exposure. The envoy spoke, its voice echoing across the chamber like judgment passed. The claim is verified. The simulations originated from Orzith's command node, with assistance from the exile group known as the Newell Syndicate. A crystalline delegate from the southern spiral sector floated forward. He violated the compact. He endangered the assembly. Another voice followed, this one aquatic, filtered through light. He sought to direct our path through deception. He cannot remain. Orzith turned body rigid. You were blind. I showed you clarity. You sowed war, said the envoy. You are removed. A pulse of light enveloped Orzith, and he vanished, not erased, but extracted. Trial to follow, judgment to come. But the council chamber now thrummed with a new energy. Disarray, yes, but also opportunity. Rayen stood slowly. Earth still stands accused by history. But we've shown you that truth and deception travel side by side, even here. We choose the harder path, not by force, but by presence. We ask not for your fear, only your vigilance. The chamber remained still. Then the spiral being who had spoken in their defense before, the helix-formed delegate, floated forward. They do not promise perfection. They offer effort. More voices joined. One by one, a majority formed, not of unconditional support, but cautious willingness. Earth's provisional status was lifted. Not full membership, not yet, but access. Dialogue. Inclusion. Later. In their quarters, Myra stared out at the stars. You know it's not over. No, Rayen said. Someone helped him. The Newell Syndicate's only part of it. Vance loaded data logs into his terminal. Then we keep digging. They pulled back the curtain. We walk through it. Rayen leaned against the window. We've made history. Myra glanced at her. or we've entered it. Rayen smiled faintly, the kind of smile that carried both weight and promise. Either way, they'll remember this day. And far beyond the council station, in the darkness between galaxies, a signal blinked to life. Observed, answered. The game had shifted. The players had not. But humanity was now on the board.